I'd like to welcome you back to our study in 1 Corinthians. Yesterday we ran out of time in verse number 13, so we're going to pick up today with the last couple phrases of verse number 13. Again, 1 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, verse number 13. The Apostle Paul is talking about the conditions that he's living in the city of Ephesus. And this is what he says at the end of verse number 13. We have become as the scum of the earth, the dregs of all things, even until now. We have become like the scum of the earth. What's he talking about? Well, the word scum, it means something that needs to be cleaned off. Have you ever been maybe outside or been around things and you come in and you just need to clean off the dirt? That's what Paul is talking about. He's saying, you know what? People are treating us like they need to just get rid of us. They need to just clean us off. They're treating us like we're scum, like we're the refuse. And by the way, let me just add this. In those days that Paul is living in, you know what? They didn't have garbage disposals. They didn't have a garbage can and a garbage truck that came. You know what? They would throw their garbage out onto the street. And so I believe that one of the things that we can understand that Paul is saying here is we're treated like that garbage, that after they come in and they have to wash their feet, they have to get rid of us. We are treated like the scum of the earth. We're treated like garbage. We're treated like trash. Like people just want to get rid of us. And then he goes on, he says, and the dredge of all things. What does that mean? Something that needs to be brushed around. The word dredge means the scrapings. You ever been outside, maybe in the mud, and you have to come in and you scrape the mud off from your feet? I've been raised on a farm, and you know what? There were times when we came in from the barn and we had to scrape the manure off on our feet. That's exactly what Paul is talking about. He's talking about the way that people are treating him in the city of Ephesus, where he is the apostle of the church in Ephesus, and they are treating him like scum. They're treating him like trash. They're treating him like the scrapings that are at the bottom of their feet, just wanting to get rid of the Apostle Paul. Talk about rejection. Well, the Apostle Paul knows that it's true. And then he goes on. And the Apostle Paul continues to teach. And he says at the very end of verse number 13, even until now. Again, Paul is reiterating this fact that this is what's happening right now in the city of Ephesus. Now let's move on. Let's move on into verse number 14. And again, we're going to see this huge contrast. We're going to see Paul as going through all of those things that were mentioned there. And now all of a sudden, the Apostle Paul writes these words, I do not write these things to shame you, but to admonish you as my beloved children. Look at the reasoning. Look at the reason why Paul writes this. He says, I didn't write these things to make you ashamed. I didn't write these things so that you would be ashamed of me. I didn't write these things so that I want to shame you. I want to make you feel bad about yourself. But Paul says, I write these things but to admonish you. And the word admonish means to place something in your mind. Paul paid a great price to be the spiritual father of the city, of the church at Ephesus, the apostle of the church at Ephesus, the apostle of the church at Corinth. And Paul's going to talk now about being that apostle, being that father in the faith. But first, he started out by addressing the price that he paid to be that person to them. And he says, I want you to think about this. I want to place this in your mind. I just didn't show up one day with my royal robes and say, hey, I'm in charge here. He didn't even do that in the city of Ephesus. Wow, how many of you are, if you've been listening the last few days, are seeing a tremendous contrast between the life of the Apostle Paul and the life of so many so-called apostles today? I know that's going to get me in trouble, but hey, I've been there before. Do you understand? Paul is trying to place something inside of them, and that he's trying to get them to understand the cost that he's paid to be in the place of being the father of the faith. Let's go on into verse number 15. For if you were to have countless tutors in Christ, yet you would not have many fathers. For in Christ Jesus I became your father through the gospel. What's the Apostle Paul saying? He's saying if you have many tutors. Now this word tutor, it means a person who is a guide or a guardian to children. When kids went to school in the days of the Greeks and the Romans, many times a wealthier family would hire a tutor to make sure that this person or that their children would be taken to school and they would be protected. We could call it a bodyguard, but it was more than a bodyguard, because as they were walking to school, they would be asking them questions about the lessons they had the day before. And on the way home, they'd be talking about their homework, what they learned in school. And so this was a very trusted slave, a very trusted person, a person trusted with the care of children. And the Apostle Paul says, for if you have countless tutors in Christ, you know what, all of us, if we were to look at our lives in Christ, we would see countless tutors, countless people that tutored us and that instructed us, that walked with us during a certain time in our lives. The Apostle Paul is not talking bad about tutors. I believe he's actually telling us that we do have many tutors and that they are needed. But then he goes on and he says, yet you would not have many fathers. What's he doing? He's saying, you know what, guys? You only got one father. And then I know my time is up, but let me continue here and finish this. For in Christ Jesus, I became your father through the gospel. What did Paul say? He said, because I brought the gospel to you, I became your father. Not because I came and exerted authority over you. No, it's because I was the first one to come to you and bring you the gospel. That's what a spiritual father is. Think about that. We're going to pick up tomorrow and talk more about what a spiritual father is. Thank you for watching.